Hey guys, back again with new project tonight. As you can see here, finally finished up the 767, which we started about 2 months ago now. Finally finished it up tonight, and figured that this would be a good starting point just to show this guy off real quick. It took a little longer than I had planned, mainly just because now I end up just not working on it. So, I put this guy off to the side. Okay. Now, on to what we're going to be starting on tonight. Slide this in properly. It'll be this guy. Fortunately, there's a little bit of a glare, but I've been sitting on this kit for a little while. Been wanting to build it and just get it out of the stash. We're actually going to be going with the cover art version, and yeah, should be a somewhat quicker build. Only real complaint I have, and that might cause a little bit of trouble, is going to be the paint key, as there is basically none really included. So basically I'm going to have to look up Airfix's color codes, as I believe they're a little different on some things, and just, yeah, so that's going to be the one pain in the butt we're going to have to deal with on this guy. But other than that, it should be fairly smooth sailing. Let me open her on up and we'll get started. Now, I decided to go with this kit as opposed to the resin figure I had in mind. Partially, I'm not ready to fully commit to working on that one. Partially because I just want to get this kit done and out of the stash, as I know I can get it done fairly quickly. And the problem with the resin kit is I know that's going to be fairly intensive, and one of the items on it I need to do a little homework on how best to potentially paint it. That might be a little on the challenging side. I'm just checking, see what all parts are going into the cockpit tub other than this guy. Now this kit is by no means a complex kit. It's pretty basic. So, okay, so 7, 8, 10, 13, 12. Okay. Yeah. Just seeing what all we gotta clip out. The detailing in this kit's also not the best, but no, it's serviceable. Now, Airfix kits, at least from my personal experience, now they're decent enough starter kits. I mean, if nothing else, they are good starter kits, but they're really sort of hit and miss. And some of their older ones definitely can be more miss, but a couple of their newer ones are actually pretty good, such as that was I working on that Spitfire on stream? I cannot. No, yeah, there was one of their late model Spitfires I was building on my own. It was pretty decent. I don't. Hang on. Just let me check the. Okay. Sorry. Just checking the instructions, make sure I'm doing it right. The old measure twice, glue once way of doing things. Go ahead and put a little glue there. Now, unfortunately, there are no alignment pins on these parts. That will add a bit of difficulty. I can get it to want to stay together. Okay, this guy wants to be a real pain in the butt. Okay. There we go. A second to start the set. Also, I'll come back in a little bit to clean that up some. Let's get the back seat. So, and before I forget again, do you enjoy watching my content? Please do like and subscribe. No, it's a bit of a drop off. I think, fortunately, this is the problem with YouTube is instead of being rated purely on, you know, how close to subject matter it is, it's unfortunately the algorithm does it based on how popular stuff is. So you might have something that's the perfect answer to a particular subject matter. However, it doesn't get the likes and views and subscribes and all that jazz. It doesn't show up in recommendations and feeds and all that. So, you know, unfortunately, it's just the nature of the beast. So, fortunately, I have to play the game too. Much as I prefer not to, fortunately, is what it is. Now in other related news, I have fortunately got all the paint I need for the dome, so I was actually about ready to do a test sample for the main armor color. And actually, once I get these seats out, I'll go ahead and show you guys what the secondary armor is going to look like. So I finished the test spoon for that. A little off topic for what we're doing, but this is what the secondary armor parts are going to look like eventually. Now, this particular spoon's a little rough, and there are a couple things I'm probably going to do slightly differently and take a little extra care with the surface prep, but that's about what it's going to look like when I'm done. So anyway, getting back to this guy, as I said, this is going to be a pretty straightforward basic build. I'm not going to do anything too fancy on it. This is mostly just a build and get it done and out of the stash build. Those are done. I think I did that one first. I'll come back to that. Let's get this out of the way. Let's see about the sides. Sorry, just talking to myself a little. I said before, Airfix kits are hit and miss, and especially in the detailed department. And as you can tell by these ejection seats, this is probably a little older mold kit, albeit with newer markings. If I recall from the decal, or from the paint guide, that this was supposed to be represent a plane from 2006. So it's the classic old molds, new decals. But at the very least, I don't think I paid too much for this thing. I think I paid maybe $10-15. So when they're cheap, you can cut them more slack. At least that's my opinion. Howdy, Iron Dragoon. How's your week been? Okay, so I got these done. Let's go ahead and get those prepped, ready for paint. Fortunately, I think tonight might be a little shorter stream. Been okay. Yeah, it's been one of those weeks for me as well, Iron Dragoon. Just one of those weeks. Hang on a second, gotta move the Iron Dragoon. Got my first new Gundam kit ordered, working on my second tank. Oh, good for you. How'd that first tank end up? That down. Pretty well want pics? Sure. Go ahead and post them, chat. I'll take a look. Yeah. As I said, I'll take a look after the stream, but yeah, I'm curious to see how it turned out. Or actually, I'll do it right at the end of the stream. That way, might be able to extend a little. Iron Dragoon, I overdid the rusting, but it was for practice. Wanted to pack in as much as I could. Yeah, definitely with rusting. I've really not played with it, but it's one of those things you can very quickly overdo. So it's always that struggle to keep doing enough, but not overdoing it. Now once we get these on, we'll get the firewall parts. As there is one area I am going to have to improvise a little on. That's nose gear, which we'll see in a second. Pull up the instructions again. Oop. Okay, got that. Those are all good. I'll let those keep drying for a few more minutes before we deal with getting those on. Okay, so One problem they're going to have with this kit is the nose gear, because it wants you to attach that before you seal it up in the fuselage halves. So my thought is we'll trim that little back plate flush, maybe add a little bit of styrene above that to serve as a alignment guide, and then once we're done we'll just super glue it in to the top. I think that would be the easiest route to go without having to do any type of, you know, major surgery. So let's see, 19 and 22. Different spur. Also reminds me. Iron Dragoon, you know much about aircraft, right? I would say I know a decent amount. But I call myself the know-all, end-all. No, but I do know a decent amount. Iron Dragoon used to be an aircraft engine mechanic, got an aeronautical degree too. Yeah, that's what I actually got my degree in. Fortunately, things never really panned out. So, I'm right now in the middle of going back to school. And actually, I'm under 10 hours from commercial rating. And unfortunately, I don't see me being able to do the check ride until August at the earliest. As unfortunately, my school has to outsource for check instructors. And they're scheduled out now till the 2nd of August. Granted, you know, some people could end up not being able to make their dates and I could get theoretically pushed up, but kinda sucks. Now let's find the nose gear. Where'd that nose gear go? There it is. Iron Dragoon. Oh, nice. I was never much interested in island myself. Much more of a mechanic engineer type. Yeah. I'll admit it's not for everyone. And oh wow, that's pretty poor management stuff. It's not really on them so much. It's unfortunately on the FAA. They're really dragging their ass because they kept stealing our chief instructors, who were the ones that could do the check rides, and they kept saying, oh, we're gonna qualify the next in line, and it's been almost a year now. So this one's totally on the FAA. But not a lot can do about it. Okay, so I'm just gonna see how well this will go in on its own, because looking at this now, it seems a lot more. So might be able to get away with that and trim that. Let me just see what the other part to trim out is. Okay, 28. There it is. Iron Dragoon. Yeah, the FAA screwed me on my A&P. When you bring in your training jacket familiar, they're supposed to and let you bypass out and credit you. Yeah. The same is true for pilots, but yeah. That's why they have the moniker of "they're not happy unless you're unhappy." Also, while I got this sprue out, I'll also go ahead and pop this. Okay. Iron Dragoon, I brought mine in, and the evaluator set it aside and said, "I don't know how to read that. What did you do, engine mech?" Oh, man. That sucks. And then proceeded to ask me nothing about hydraulic and electric, and tagged me as under. That's messed up. There's got to be an appeal process for that, I would assume. Okay, let's see now. So this is supposed to go out here. Oh yeah, we definitely should be able to just slide that in then. Yeah, that'll work perfectly. Because, yeah, this is supposed to go right up against this lip. So, yeah, we'll be able to avoid having to do surgery or do anything funky. So, I'm doing probably about one more at the time. I was set up to do contracting overseas, and it was just something I wanted to do while convenient. Yeah. Yeah, I would have said still probably try and do it then and there, all the same, just in case there's some rule as far as timelines and such for appeal. I would assume that'd be a better safe than sorry. But believe me, I get the feeling there, as I actually ended up having to go through dealing with Oklahoma City for my medical, as it got deferred on the last renewal, and thankfully I got it back in April, so been trying to play a little catch up since then. But no, it definitely not a fun experience dealing with them. Iron Dragoon. Yeah, it's years past though. When it happened, it was only a couple weeks from shipping out. Yeah. Obviously, if you're going overseas, playing letter tag with them is probably going to be a pain in the ass, especially since at least for the medical, you had 60 days to respond. And if you're overseas, you're going to get no way you're going to be able to make that date. Unless you're overnighting everything, and that'll get expensive quick, and that's even assuming it gets to you before the 60 days are up. Right. Well, for now, I'm going to put this back in the box so we don't lose it. I don't need another part being sent to the carpet monster. Grab these. Fortunately, tonight it's probably going to end up being a little bit of a shorter stream, simply because obviously you're going to need to paint up the cockpit before it can move forward. One of the downsides of aircraft kits, but is what it is. Okay, so just double check which side goes which way. Okay, this back side will never be seen. We don't need to worry too much about it. Alright, Dragoon, yeah, my kid is drawing. That's the second tank you were talking about? Iron Dragoon did seam filler and armor texturing. Ooh, nice. Have not done that on any of mine. Actually, yeah, do that up here since it won't. That section won't be seen. Also put this back in the kit for now, as I obviously need to confirm colors on that. Gonna be tomorrow afternoon, night, till I can do anything. Yes, I can take. Yeah. Were you doing Zimmerit or just cast iron texturing? Cast steel, yeah. Okay, yeah. Yeah, that's one thing I haven't played with really. You know, granted, you know, Sponge and some Mr. Surfacer works fantastic. Just haven't played with it myself. Do eventually want to do something like Zimmerit on a Gundam kit at some point, because I think that just aesthetically would look pretty cool and just provide a really interesting subject matter. I'm just gonna start knocking down a little bit what's left of this poor stub. So I do think, yeah, that'll be fine. Dragoon did Tamiya Python with cement and tapped on with brush. Yeah, that works too. Though for a better texture, as I said, just an old kitchen sponge works fantastic. Plus, because of the larger size, it'll probably go on a little quicker. That. Like a yellow disc sponge, yeah, one of those. You can also change up textures by using the ones that have the scrubbing pads on them, and you know, excuse me, you can change the texture and scale depending on which one you use. Well, speaking of other things you can use for creating interesting textures and whatnot, dryer sheets. You know, stretch them out over a part and then paint them, and you can get a very base for a very, very sharp marbling effect for the more artsy type projects. Or for, you know, say you need to do a marble floor for whatever reason. Yeah, it's one of those things I just discovered by accident. I was pulling a dryer sheet out from some laundry, happened to look at it, and saw how the fibers broke up, and just had that sort of light bulb moment. Ended up trying it out as part of some base work for a Gundam kit. Did last year? Yeah, last year. And it came out really nice. Fortunately, I haven't taken any decent photos of it, so can't post links or anything. It's on my list of kits I need to photograph. Okay, so we got all those out. So we just need to get the control sticks and then the fuselage halves. Now I think that's where we'll stop for the night, because it's going to be all we're going to be able to get out, or at least all we need to get out for now. I got a gun tank model for cheap, $9, and I'm going to try some. Yeah, that's definitely that $9. That the HG kit or no grade? Because it's HG. That's not a bad price at all. HG, yeah, that's got a pretty decent deal there. New Type has them on sale. Yeah, I haven't shopped it there. As far as Gundam's really concerned, primarily been going through USA Gundams, mainly because they have the paints I like. Fistful of stuff on sale. Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately right now, school is making it... Oh. Now this is a bastard of poor stub. It's right up against that. Now that's a... Who the hell design made that decision? Okay, where's the control sticks? Control sticks. 85. 23 and 24. Okay. Now what I'm going to do... Let's go ahead and turn those off there. Out here. Okay. I'll just leave them on that so I can save some sprues, because that lasts a little bit. I can either touch up or hide later. Okay, so we got that done. A little seam lining. So that done. I still cannot believe they put a pour stub right here. And it's not a thin one either. That was a thicker. So I do think I'm probably going to have to fill that in at some point. We'll see once we get the fuselage halves together. Oops. Let's go ahead and take a look. Aside from, clean that up first. There, I'll do for now. Okay, yeah, there's a little bit of filling I'll need to do. It's not terrible. Let's see. So that's not fitting right now, it's simply because I haven't cleaned up the pour stub points. Obviously that'll in turn throw off alignment everywhere, so we'll come back to that. That one. Okay, so I got that. And grab this. Okay, so fortunately hit a bit of an endpoint for that. Let's take a look. Okay. Alright, let's see. Well, the one thing I will point out looking at your tank is probably the uniformity of a lot of the blotting. You know, in real life, it will never be that sort of round and almost perfect. So, on the whole, the blotting you did there is just, you know, it looks a little, I guess the best word is artificial. Some points it's a little better than others, but at least looking on the for the right side view, it's a little. Let's see. I used a sponge, but I never turned it or anything. I used the wrong type of sponge. Yeah, but probably the best thing I would say is again, check your references again and use those as sort of baseline. Now the treads look pretty decent. I don't really see anything that jumps out to me there. The mud texture on the wheels looks pretty good. Only thing I would say, there are a couple areas where it might have been better to try and, you know, at least add a little more just to ensure a, you know, consistency across. But yeah, did a pretty good job there. Did you add like a filter effect or anything like that to give it sort of a little bit of a faded look? Because if you did, it did a decent job on it, especially on the last image. Looking by the numbers, yeah, that section of the tank, I would say overall is probably the best. Let's see, Iron Dragoon, I did 3 layers of wash, 2 super light brown, and 1 darker brown. Okay. Yeah. Overall, I would say it's not bad. Just the rusting was a little came out probably the worst, but at the same time, it's probably one of the harder effects to get right. I would say next time, try not to keep it as sort of uniform, and I would say also maybe do a little blending of colors as well. Because that's another thing I'm noticing is it's really sort of single color. Rust usually is not so monotone. But overall, yeah, you did a pretty good job. So, with that, I do believe we're going to be calling it a night, as unfortunately we can't do much more as far as construction until we get these parts painted. Iron Dragoon didn't try any bling. Yeah, it's like I said, that's one of the reasons getting rust to look good is really difficult, especially on larger areas, just because there's so much tonal variation. As I said, try to find some good reference photos. Probably just doing a quick like Google search for rusted cars would probably give you the best type of idea of what rust will look like, you know, what areas get more or less, and you can sort of adapt from there. But yeah, definitely not a bad job for the first go. So with that said, as I said, we're going to be calling it a night. We should be back here next Saturday, if not sooner, actually. And yeah, so until next time.